Dana White has responded after former UFC heavyweight champion Junior dos Santos slammed the promotion for their lack of professionalism. Dos Santos was cut by the UFC shortly following his TKO loss to Ciryl Gane at UFC 256. That setback had marked the Brazilian's fourth in a row, with all 4 losses coming by way of technical knockout. Despite his recent rough stretch, the news of his release came as a big surprise to Junior dos Santos, who shared the following reaction. The UFC didn't even talk to me. For example, Dana White, I haven't talked to him in years. They didn't even talk to me. They texted the owner of my gym and told him about their decision to release me from my contract. I was a little bit surprised by the coldness of how they treated the case. They just don't care. The history we did in there, the dedication was all just totally disregarded. Dana White clearly caught word of his comments and responded with the following explanation during an interview with TSN. So Junior dos Santos said some stuff the other day, saying he was upset and that I was all about money, and then talking about the way he left. Listen, how old is he? I mean, he's in his 40s now. He was on a 5-fight losing streak, and there comes a time and a day where I have to make a decision when a guy keeps losing and he's at a certain age. This just isn't the place to be anymore. There are tons of other places where you can go fight and where you can make a lot of money. A lot of these guys, once they've built and established their name here, move on to these other promotions and make crazy money. And good for them. That's just how it works. On a recent episode of the Weighing In podcast, John McCarthy reacted to Dana White saying that other MMA promotions sign guys that the UFC release. He had the following to say. Here's where I have a problem with what Dana said, because it's just not true. Does the UFC sign fighters from the PFL? Does the UFC sign fighters from Bellator? You're not creating anything. If there's one promotion that doesn't create fighters for the most part, it's the UFC. You sign talent from Bellator, just like Bellator signs talent from you. I think that you're getting guys at a better stage in their careers than when Bellator is getting them at times. But when it comes to growing a fighter from the ground up, don't even compare. To sit there and to say that Dana White Contender Series is creating new talent, are you fucking high? You're not signing the new top talent. You're signing guys that can put on a fight. It's not like you're creating something. It's not like you're the one that is taking the talent and building it. Khamzat Chimaev has revealed some information regarding his altercation with Kevin Holland at the UFC Apex Sports Complex. Shortly following the conclusion of UFC Vegas 6, reports surfaced that Chimaev and Holland had been involved in a backstage scuffle. During a recent interview with Zuba TV, Chimaev confirmed that an altercation with Holland took place at UFC Vegas 6, this while detailing the circumstances. He commented something under an Instagram post about me. He wrote something like, "It's all good, but where's your mask? You can infect him." Something like that. I came up to him in the hotel and asked, "What did you mean by that?" He answered, "I don't really remember, but what about it?" Or something like that. I grabbed his neck and pushed him away. Then, when people were holding me, he's shouting at me. Typical American thing. Just talking without doing anything. Chimaev is set to return from a 13-month hiatus at this Saturday's highly anticipated UFC 267 event. He has been matched up with Li Jingliang for a welterweight showdown. Khamzat Chimaev last competed at middleweight, where he needed just 17 seconds to knock out Gerald Meerschaert. Chimaev has gone 3-0 since joining the UFC ranks in July of 2020. Having made weight for his most recent fight under extraordinarily difficult circumstances, Dan Hooker doesn't have much sympathy for Paulo Costa's recent weight crisis. Ahead of his main event clash with Marvin Vettori this past Saturday at UFC Vegas 41, Costa revealed that he would not be able to make the scheduled middleweight limit, and eventually, the fighters negotiated to make the fight a light heavyweight contest instead. That perceived gamesmanship didn't sit well with a lot of the MMA community, particularly Dan Hooker. What Costa did, he didn't earn the right to do that, Hooker said on Submission Radio. It was a funny situation because it was only, a couple of weeks ago that we let Nick Diaz roll up and do it. But Paulo Costa hasn't done for the sport what Nick Diaz had done, but he got the same result. He got the weight class changed entirely. So, I don't know, it's kind of funny, like a bit of a power play. But it's not for me. That would never happen in New Zealand or Australia. I feel like if you just showed up to a local kickboxing show with your fighter 10 kilos overweight, and you were like, what are you gonna do about it? I feel like you'd get beaten up in the car park. It's just a sign of respect. That's all it is. It's a matter of respect. Him coming out like that is just a massive F you to the fans, F you to the UFC, F you to his opponent.